Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you are. Today's story is big. It's about the United Nations taking a bold stand on the Israel-Palestine conflict. On September 12, 2025, the UN General Assembly didn't just talk, it voted overwhelmingly to back a declaration that lays out clear, time-bound, and irreversible steps toward a two-state solution. And this wasn't a soft statement. It directly condemned Hamas for the October 7, 2023 attack, and it also slammed Israel for airstrikes and assaults on civilians and civilian infrastructure in Gaza. Many are calling this one of the strongest international signals we've seen in years. Now, here's the backstory. This declaration didn't just appear out of nowhere. It came from an international conference back in July, hosted by Saudi Arabia and France, aimed at breaking decades of deadlock. But not everyone was on board. The US and Israel boycotted that meeting completely, saying the process was biased and one-sided. When it came time to vote at the UN, the numbers told the story. A massive 142 countries voted in favor. Only 10 stood against, and 12 abstained. Who voted no? The US, Israel, Argentina, Hungary, Paraguay, Tonga, and a few Pacific Island nations like Micronesia, Palau, Nauru, and Papua New Guinea. On the other side, all Gulf Arab states voted yes. That's a serious show of unity across much of the world. The declaration itself is blunt. It condemns Hamas's October 7 attack, which killed about 1,200 people, most of them civilians, and saw roughly 250 hostages taken. But it also condemns Israel for its actions in Gaza, bombing civilians, destroying infrastructure, and creating what it describes as a humanitarian catastrophe. It demands the war stop immediately. And here's the kicker: it supports sending in a temporary international stabilization mission, but under UN Security Council authority. So how did the world react? The United States called the resolution a misguided and ill-timed publicity stunt, saying it undermines real diplomacy and only boosts Hamas. Israel went even further, calling it one-sided theater. They argued the UN is rewarding terrorists instead of working toward peace. France had a very different take. Its foreign minister said this resolution isolates Hamas globally and strengthens the case for peace. But beyond politics, let's look at the human cost. Since October 7, the war in Gaza has killed more than 64,000 people, most of them civilians, according to local health authorities. That's a staggering number. And while leaders argue, ordinary people continue to suffer. What happens next? This declaration builds pressure for a concrete, irreversible roadmap to a two-state solution. And the timing is no coincidence. In just days, on September 22, world leaders will meet in New York during the UN General Assembly. Several countries are expected to formally recognize a Palestinian state. That could mark a turning point or deepen divisions further. Some countries see this resolution as the path toward peace. Others see it as undermining security and negotiations already in play. Here's the bottom line. The resolution itself won't stop the fighting, it doesn't bind nations to act, and it doesn't change realities on the ground. But it does send a powerful message: the majority of the world wants progress, not endless war. It creates momentum for diplomacy, advocacy, and recognition. Whether that momentum turns into action, that's the real question. So, what can you do? First, stay informed. Follow credible sources and updates from the UN and humanitarian groups. Second, use your platform. Talk about it on social media, in your community, wherever you can, because awareness drives pressure. Third, hold leaders accountable. Push for policies that prioritize peace and the protection of civilians. And finally, if you're able, support humanitarian organizations working to get food, water, and medical aid to people in Gaza and surrounding areas. Thanks for watching. The world has spoken at the UN, but words mean little without action. Let's hope this isn't just another resolution that gets buried in history, but the spark for real change and a path toward peace.